We are almost done with chapter 31. Sorry I had to break it up into three sections. Just some unforeseen problems. Okay, so page 254. Paul's talking to Grant about how the execution went, and so far he tells him that he was Jefferson was the bravest person in the room. Um, so continuing, no more than 8 feet away from the chair, we all had each other to lean on. When Vincent asked him if he had any last words, he looked at the preacher and said, "Tell Nana I walked." And straight he walked. And straight he walked. Grant Wiggins. Straight he walked. I'm a witness. Straight he walked. Paul stopped talking. He was breathing heavily. He was looking at me, but seeing Jefferson in the chair. We started walking again. We were passing by Miss Emma's house, but Paul didn't know this. He had never been in the quarter before. After they put the death cloth over his face, I couldn't watch any more. I looked down at the floor. Paul was saying. His voice was quieter, less intense now. I heard the two jolt. I heard the two jolts, but I wouldn't look up. I'll never forget the sound of that generator as long as I live on this earth. We came to the end of the quarter and stood on the railroad tracks while gazing across the field and the rows of early cane. Paul got in front of me to look in my face. "You're one great teacher, Grant Wiggins," he said. "I'm not great. I'm not even a teacher." "Why do you say that? You have to believe to be a teacher," I said, looking at the two rows of new cane. To the right of where we were standing were the tall pecan trees in the cemetery. There would be another grave there within a day or two. "I saw the transformation," Grant Wiggins, Paul said. "I didn't do it. Who then? Maybe he did it himself. He never could have done that. I saw the transformation. I'm a witness to that." "Then maybe it was God," I said. Paul continued to look at me. He did not like the way I had used the name of God. He came from good stock. He believed, but he didn't say anything. "You're ready to start back?" I asked him. I didn't open his notebook, Paul said. We had turned and we had turned and were walking up the corridor now. I didn't think it was my place to open the notebook. He asked me to bring it to you, and I brought it to you, but I would like to know his thoughts sometime, if you don't mind. "After I read it," I said. "I suppose this has been very hard on everybody." "Hard on the people here," I said. "School is just about ready to end, huh?" Paul asked after a while. "Yes," I said. "We start a month later and get out 2 months earlier than the whites do." "What are you going to do when school is over? Go on a vacation?" "I don't know. It depends on Vivian. Whatever she wants." "She's beautiful," Paul said. "You're a lucky fellow there, Grant Wiggins." "Yes, I'm lucky," I said. "Some of us are." "I'm sorry," Paul said. "I'm very, very sorry." We had stopped for a moment. Now we started walking again. "If I could ever be of any help, I would like you to call on me. I mean that with all my heart." We were passing by Miss Emma's house. Reverend Ambrose's car was parked before the door. "Isn't that the preacher's car?" Paul asked. "That's where Jefferson lived. That's his Nana's house." Paul looked at the house and went by. He looked at it again over his shoulder. We came up to the church and stopped at his car. I better go into to the children," I said. Paul stuck out his hand. "Allow me to be your friend, Grant Wiggins. I don't ever want to forget this day. I don't ever want to forget him." I took his hand. He held mine with both of his. "I don't know what you're going to say when you go back in there, but tell them he was the bravest man in the room today. I'm a witness, Grant Wiggins. Tell them so. Maybe one day you will come back and tell them so. It would be my honor." I turned from him and I went into the church. Irene Cole told the class to rise with their shoulders back. I went up to the desk and turned to face them. I was crying. Okay, that was the end of A Lesson Before Dying. Um, wow, we just read 256 pages of story like none other. I have never read something like this, and it was um, it was tough. Like there was different emotions in each chapter, and some people don't like the book, and some people do. But it's just a little piece of history of injustice when it comes to races, you know. Um, Thousands of people, of black people, have faced this, you know. Social injustice, how school is injustice, how education plays a role in everything. Um, we have Grant, who's educated. You know, he didn't go down any crime path, but he knows some of his friends did, and some of them are dead, and some of them are not around anymore. Um, yeah, that was quite a story, and I hope you guys liked the book as much as I did. Let me know what you guys think. See you around if I ever read another book. Goodbye.